This isn't a review. This isn't a reason to not buy this game. It's just my feelings for a series I think is great, but feels like it's lost its shine with this new release. At the end of the day, the opinions spoken here are just that. They're opinions. You don't have to agree with me, but I will say this. No game is perfect, and I'm criticizing the game because I love the series. You don't truly love something unless you see its faults after all. Now, obviously, since I'll be complaining about the game for a bit, we should start with the good things. For starters, I love the new stealth system. Public areas being places where you can be as long as you're not doing anything illegal, private areas that you can't be in, but if caught, they'll escort you to an exit, and secure areas where, if caught, you will be arrested or an alarm will sound. This new system is great. It adds more to each level, and not everything is reduced to just shooting. There are steps to the process, there are goals, there are objectives. Going stealth isn't just going loud but trying not to get spotted. It's a different playstyle, and I've already fallen in love with it heaps. It makes stealth much more viable and shows it as another option, instead of in Payday 2, where it's just something that is possible, but not its own thing. The levels look nice. Using the Unreal Engine was worth it in my opinion. Lighting, set pieces, textures, they all look good. While aesthetically it's not that different from Payday 2, hell, I'd even go so far as to say it looks nearly identical in terms of graphics, they feel clearer, more detailed. I enjoy looking at them for what it's worth. I enjoy the gunplay and movement too. It's essentially the same as Payday 2, but I think that's why I like it. Moving, throwing grenades, shooting, it all feels nice and smooth for the most part, and the addition of sliding only adds to the smoothness as it's a very welcome change. Tools are a great addition, and I find myself using them a lot, especially the microcam and motion sensor for when I'm stealthing certain levels. ECM jammers being added to the tools instead of as a deployable, like in Payday 2, is also nice, as it doesn't force me to choose them over something like health or ammo when things go south. And unfortunately, that's where it ends for me. Payday 3 as a whole to me feels gutted. Systems were shredded or just completely missing, changes made and not necessarily for the better, maps being different but completely the same. It feels like one step forward, three steps back, and a lot of looking around lost. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start simple. The lobby itself has changed tremendously. You don't see your friends lined up in the pre-matchmaking lobby anymore. I know this is a nitpick as the lineup does show up when matchmaking has put you in the lobby, but I can still complain about it. Hell, the crime net from 2 is gone as well, replaced with their new heist menu select. You used to see various different teams doing different heists and know how many were in the game before you even started. Having something like that would be great. Just add in the ability to choose if you're wanting to do heists loud or stealthy as a filter, like you could in Payday 2, and the matchmaking would have been great to port over to 3. Hell, the fact that you can't cancel matchmaking without leaving your current party is a major oversight. Sometimes all my friends aren't ready and I start the heist, I go to cancel it, and I'm out of the party. It's a small thing, but it builds up when it happens so often. The safe house is also gone. While I understand this decision, as who truly kept going back to the safe house, they lost the opportunity to instead make the safe house more important, make it as the lobby. Add a shooting range to allow for gun testing, a workbench for loadouts, a computer for mission select, main menu things. This could have made being in the lobby more bearable, as having nothing to do currently while my friends gear up is rather boring. It would give us the ability to stretch our virtual legs, shall we say. Heists, while being a little more streamlined and simple, suffer from a problem called not enough to do. In Payday 2, when the game first launched, you had 11 heists. 4 stores, jewelry store, the Ukrainian job, which was just jewelry but stealing a tiara, mall crasher, bank job, nightclub, watchdogs, fire starters, big oil, framing frame, and rats. With 5 of the previously mentioned being multi-stage heists, you can see now how Payday 3 with its 8 heists, all of which being one day, could be a little disheartening. Now yes, I understand that with the way stealth is now, having to grab keycards, find codes, and standing in circles, it's much more actively engaging. The defense can be made of quality over quantity, but what about Road Rage? A completely loud heist. We couldn't get 2 more like it? Add to that, the variation of said map doesn't change much unless you're playing on a harder difficulty. The security room, the security codes, and a couple QR codes may change locations, but that's it. Everything else is static. Whereas in Payday 2, the entire loot room may be in a different area. The loot in said room could be different. Guards might have different patrols, extra guards could spawn due to random chance, and not just because of difficulty. There was variation there at the least that changed how the map would be played. You can't pre-plan the maps anymore, unfortunately. In Payday 2, you had access to a map in the preload lobby where you could see the entirety of the floor plan and draw on it to properly plan a route, and using favors, you could choose your drop-off location, your exit, extra gear, insider information, and backup. However, with Payday 3, we only have assets that help with assaults mostly. Ammo, armor, medkits, and zipline bags, and some level-specific insider trading. That's all though. There's no favors you can buy for stealth outside of the level-specific favors and the zipline bags. Those 4 options, and that's the end of it. It feels that they wasted a major opportunity with bringing back the pre-planned map and upgrading the mechanic, making it better, or just expanding on what was there in a way that doesn't take away from what they tried to do. Cash is now essentially useless as you're earning too much too fast, it seems, with not enough options. At my current level, I have every suit I can have, all the attachments I can have that you can purchase with money for every gun I've unlocked, a bunch of different masks, and what I consider a healthy amount of C-stacks. I wouldn't say I'm far into the game, I'm past level 50 at the time of writing the script, but it feels like I have nothing to save up for. Sure, the same could be said for Payday 2 to an extent, but this was their chance to fix that problem. At this point, the only thing left I can buy are C-stack items, and I really don't feel like wasting my money on that. The fix to this money problem, in Payday 2 at least, was the offshore account, which you could use to buy certain heists that you wanted and gambling for weapon attachments, skins, or masks, and color for masks, which obviously now can't be a thing as a level select was changed, so there's no need to buy contracts anymore, and the gambling system is out when they changed how weapon modding works. So now with nothing to balance this vast fortune we're stealing, the money just sits there, the numbers slowly rising, when you eventually run out of masks, suits, and guns to buy. Speaking of which, guns are in short supply. 4 assault rifles, 2 shotguns, 2 marksman rifles, 4 handguns, 2 revolvers, and 3 SMGs, for 17 guns split between primary and secondary. Now, I know Payday 2 had a very bloated weapon problem. There were too many guns and not enough inequity between the each. But when we're missing a lot of secondaries, the entire melee category, which is a huge waste of potential, the primary selection being underwhelming, and to top it all off, we don't even have a full auto secondary because they put the SMGs into the primary slots, it gets a little annoying. I wish I could go in with a Renfield 880 and a Ziv, but unfortunately, the game just doesn't allow it. To me, that'd be great because I get a nice high power, low ammo gun, and a low power, high ammo count that would be complementary to each gun. But I don't. The worst part of this is if you're running a marksman, you're just an ammo handicap. Sure, you have high power, but you have extremely low ammo, and the pistol does not help you with that at all. And with a horde shooter like Payday, you don't want to be caught with an empty clip. To add piss to the fire, they went the Call of Duty route and added weapon levels that unlock your weapon mods, which you then buy with money or C-stacks. I get this decision, but some things just don't make sense about how certain mods affect things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but gun kick and recoil are essentially the same thing in real life, correct? Also, why does having a heavier barrel create more recoil? Shouldn't that barely affect anything recoil related at all? Yeah, I know, video game has to video game, but it's still a fair argument. I'm gonna stop here before I ramble further with this, but I kinda wish it was a better system. Throwables work as they should, thankfully. Grenades explode, flashbangs bang flashes, throwing knives stab, and smoke grenades compete with Snoop Dogg. However, it feels like we should have had more at base. We only have 4 options instead of, I don't know, maybe 6? I don't know, Molotovs for instance? Maybe a gas grenade like the cops have. It's a nitpick, I understand, but I feel like we should have had more, not less. The overkill weapon system, while a good idea, is executed, unfortunately, very poorly. There are only 2 weapons, a grenade launcher that you unlock immediately, and a 50 caliber rifle that you unlock at level 40. Alright, they're good, they're cool. However, where's the rocket launcher? What about the minigun? The flamethrower? All 3 are weapons that were in Payday 2 and could have been used for this new system. They're not in 3, anywhere. They could easily be there. Why aren't they? Not only that, but when calling the overkill weapons, they tend to land far from you as well. Add to that the 3-second interaction time to grab the weapon, and using them is sometimes just less effective than using your regular gun. For a new system, it came in really weak and very underhanded. Skills are nice, but it seems they were trying to lean too heavily into the grit, rush, and edge system without making said system enjoyable. A 10% damage increase, a 10% damage reduction, and an increased movement speed are nice, but I don't care about them as much as they probably want me to, even though it seems that the new perks are literally built around these 3 things. which honestly sucks because I would like decreased shotgun reloads without needing both edge and grid. I'd like to loot bags faster without rush, and I think a revive speed upgrade should be a passive instead of only being when you have rush. What has the potential to be a fantastic system becomes a decent skill system and sometimes even just mediocre due to the new grit, rush, and edge effects being the core mechanic of the skills. Mask customization is all sorts of jumbled up, for two main reasons that I can currently think of. One, you don't get many masks in general, and what there are aren't anything special. 6 out of 25 of them are character masks, and the rest aren't really boring, but they don't do much to stand out. Sure, the later masks like the Kitten, Lincoln, Apple, and Baseball are cool, but the first few that you unlocked are bland and not really worth getting. Add to that, some of these masks were in Payday 2, so they're just copy and pasted without much need for creativity. The second reason is simple. Why do I need to level up more for colors on a gun or mask than I do the guns and masks themselves? Level 148 for a shade of blue, but the level cap is 150. Why? I get the last gun at level 77 and the last mask at level 99. That doesn't make any sense. I get that you want me to play past level 100, but this isn't the way to do it. Add some more masks, more guns, more anything, but don't level lock colors higher than you do the stuff you use those colors on. Clothing options are a mindfuck, as most clothes are reskins of another set. There are 5 clothes each with 5 different color schemes, but all of them are sold to you as different outfits. Why not just have one set of clothes with a sub option to choose its color? You're telling me that the best we can do is sports gear, a Port of Joy's original clothing, 1990s British thug look, Mr. Rogers' closet, and suits? Those are our options. It just feels so poorly done. I don't feel like I'm a bank robber. Hell, I don't even feel like I'm expressing a character here. I just feel like an idiot most of the time. We need more options, and we need to ditch the color palette, at least as different outfits. The same goes with gloves, but add to that, you have to use C-stacks to buy gloves, and it introduces all the problems of normal clothes, but add to that the new problem of having to go to the C-stack menu to buy C-stacks so I can buy my gloves. It's a very roundabout way of doing the same thing. If anything, I'm usually paying more money than I spend on outfits due to how the C-stack system works in the first place. The C-stacks themselves are a hard system to like as well, as they only extend the lifeline of money and that's about it. You buy C-stacks for increasing amounts of money per purchase for a maximum of about 176 a week if I did my math right. Most items you buy are 100 to 150 stacks, so you can realistically only buy an item a week. The only purpose they serve is forcefully extending the time it takes to buy more items. They aren't good, they don't do anything special, they're only there to waste your time and make sure you can't buy everything too fast. The system needs a lot of work, and unfortunately I don't think they can fix it on a fundamental level. They're here to stay, and sadly I don't think they're going to get any better anytime soon. The AI has been massively improved, but there's still a lot of problems with them. Team bots won't revive each other, they won't go to you when called sometimes, and they have no sense of self-preservation. On the flip side of this coin, enemy AI got an upgrade for the most part, but you can still catch them being stupid as they clump together in weird ways, especially with shields, which I know they're supposed to do, and I wish I had the footage for it, I watched a group of 5 cops turn to face a flashbang because a shield did the same. They all got stunned and immediately killed. Cloakers like to run in patterns that aren't always necessarily towards you, making no sense whatsoever their pathfinding, and Grenadiers, who are extremely volatile, love to group up with fellow police oddly enough. Enemy AI could use some work, but it's mainly ally AI that needs the glue to hold itself together, because right now it's falling apart. Them deciding to take a more story approach to the game this run around is interesting to say the least. I'm hoping it's more grounded than Payday 2, but I'm not expecting anything special. I wouldn't doubt if it spiraled into Payday 2's ending level of stuff. I just hope they don't put more resources into this story than the actual heists themselves. This is more a fear than anything else, but after how Payday 2 finished out, well, it's justified to say the least. Also add to that, this isn't a professional critique, so I'm allowed to add whatever I want. And finally, the leveling system. While I understand changing it to a challenge-based system, I feel that the game requires a more aggressive and hostile approach now, completely alienating the play-your-way style of the series. Combat challenges are near impossible if you only do stealth, more than half the heist challenges are for going loud in some capacity, and the fact that there's no way to organize or pin some challenges mid-heists make it feel impossible to know what I'm supposed to be doing at any given point. I understand them taking away the XP from heists as the way to level up, as you could very easily farm this. You could very easily cheese it as much as you want. But this new way of doing it needs major improvements and better organization, or else it's all going to fall flat on its face within, I'd give it 2-3 months. I don't have as many complaints about the game as I've seen others have. While the matchmaking issues did suck, they weren't a game problem, just a server problem. However, it does bring up the argument of a need for an offline mode, but that's something for a different day. Payday 3 is not a great game. It's an okay game. For something that started development in 2017, it's just missing too much. It has a lot of bugs that I didn't get into, it has problems that I haven't seen or have chosen to ignore, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Add a couple more heists, add like 7 more weapons, preferably secondaries as the selection is just really weak, some more masks, lower the level requirement for colors, add some more overkill weapons, hell, maybe add some melee weapons, and tweak the skills a bit. And I'm sure I'd start seeing its praises as an actual game and not a beta they just felt too confident in. Sure, at a glance it sounds like I'm asking a lot here, but remember that this game took 6 years in development to get where it was, for somewhere over $50 million in development. That's roughly enough money to make Halo 2, 2009's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Dead Space 2 cost $60 million. The amount of money that went into the game and the time they were given doesn't line up with the content that we got. In the end, I do like this game, and I'm gonna keep playing it for a bit longer, but the fact that they didn't learn their lessons from Payday 2's launch is bad. The Payday series is the only thing that they have. It is their golden goose. Raid was a flop, The Walking Dead was so bad you couldn't buy it after a month. We as players deserve better, and they as developers need to do better, or Overkill won't get their own Payday. Just another bankruptcy. I want to end this off with saying, don't threaten the devs. Don't threaten their lives or their families. Don't dox them either. It's a shitty thing to do, and while I know I just complained about the time not adding up to the content we got, games are hard to make, and sending vitriol and potential threats and malice their way only makes things worse. You want a better game? Don't be a shithead. They'll get it in a better state eventually. It's gonna take some time, probably go through many phases of its own existence, but it will get better. I hope, at least. Thanks for listening to me rant about this stupid shit. I hope you all have a good night.